Good morning, my friends. Today is indeed a good day. I can love you and be your friend, even if we think differently, believe differently, act differently, look different, or come from different places in life. You are welcome here. With that in mind, let's get our day started together. Let's slow down together each morning to contemplate valuable precepts and how we might apply these in our thoughts, words, and actions today, and how they might grow into practices, habits, and even ways of life, so that our life's example is rooted firmly in core values that are a benefit to ourselves and to all around us. Good morning. It is a beautiful Sunday morning. I'm getting started a little later than usual, but we're ready to jump into the day. The word of the day, the precept this morning, is confession. And when I say that, immediately a lot of our minds might go to a religious connotation. We might imagine a booth inside of a religious building, but that is not what I'm talking about this morning when I say confession. I'm not excluding that as part of the process, but the precept itself is not about religious doctrine or dogma. So, as always, I think it's great for us to nail down what we're talking about, and that is part of it this morning. So confession isn't just that admitting wrongdoing as part of some kind of a religious doctrine or dogma where in return for going through that act, you might receive something in return. That is not the confession specifically that I'm talking about. However, you'll see that the heart of what we are talking about, the precept, how it could be applied appropriately, maybe in that kind of context. So it doesn't exclude, but the precept itself is bigger than doctrine or dogma. So what we're talking about is about sort of truly examining your own conscience, about owning the responsibility for our wrongdoing. And we all do wrong. If we are willing to examine our own consciences and self-examine ourselves, I guarantee that we can find something that we have done wrong that was harmful to ourselves or harmful to others, or that was not right. And learning from it. There's an aspect of learning from our mistakes and committing to turn away from the path that led us into that wrongdoing and to make amends. And this is the essence of the type of confession that I'm speaking about this morning. If we leave one of those parts out of confession, it does not have its full work on us, right? If I do some act of confession, but it's not heartfelt, it's not genuine, it's just a ritual and a practice that I'm used to, it's not going to have the same effect, right? Because I can act, I can behave under pressing myself into control. I can act. Let's imagine that we're in an occupied country, and they say that I have to do this or that, but I don't want to do this or that. Well, I can I can, in front of them, behave as if I am doing that. But then when they're not around, I'm going to do what I want to, right? So that's a different kind of a thing than what I'm talking about. The heartfelt portion of this, choosing and believing in what we are choosing, is a part of that confession. Part of confession is the self-examination. If we leave this out, if we don't actually examine our conscience, and take the time to look into ourselves, then we're missing out on part of that value of confession. At that point, it's not about a choice and a growth and a direction. The other piece that we don't want to leave out is holding ourselves accountable. If we go through all of the steps of confession, but we blame others, or we take a victim mentality and we make excuses for why we've made poor decisions, or we make excuses for why we're justified in our wrongdoing, then confession is not going to have its fullest work upon our hearts and our lives, because we're not holding ourselves accountable. We're not fully believing that there needs to be a change in direction, right? So each of these pieces of confession are critical for it to have its greatest work on our hearts and our minds and our lives. We need to identify corrections. If I just admit to my wrongdoing and I say, yes, I'm wrong in that, and I say, hey, I want to be forgiven for it, and that's the end of the practice, right? Do I really believe that anything's going to change? Or should I not? If I'm committed to and I believe that this is a wrong action and I know that it's wrongdoing and it's harming myself or others, then I should look to see what caused me to fall into that trap, what caused me to fall into justifying that wrong decision. And I should identify areas of correction. Not just correction in my own life, but I should look at what needs to be corrected related to the damage that I've already done. If I'm choosing to confess and to move in a different direction and to be accountable, then I want to apply both two things. I want to apply corrections in my own direction so that I'm not just continuing to take the same steps over and over again that get me in the same hole. So that's number one. I need to identify those. But I also need to identify what's the collateral damage that I've already caused around myself by my wrongdoing. Identify what I can do to correct or make amends or set things right as best we can. And if I just stop at identifying those, that's just good intentions. We need to actually apply those corrections, both in our direction and in making amends. When confession truly looks like this whole package, there are things that are broken, there are patterns that are broken in our lives, and they're replaced with something new. If we're making wrong choices, if we're doing wrong things, and we just continue on along the path that we've always done, we will continue to repeat those. But the process of confession, making that heartfelt choice, self-examining, being accountable, identifying those corrections and applying them, it allows us to interrupt that pattern and that cycle and to say, no, I'm not going to continue in that cycle anymore. Sorry. And there can be change. There will be change. Confession has great value in a life. Confession requires us to apply some of these other precepts that we've talked about. Confession, whereas integrity is our sticking to, right, and being solidly founded, confession is the act of when we see something that is not solidly founded, that we throw away whatever is hindering us or stopping us, and we go to the treasure, right? So this is why for confession, I'm not focusing on doctrine and dogma. I'm not talking about religious things. I'm talking about concepts and practices that each and every one of us can put into practical application in our lives and see real change. They say the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same things and expect something different to happen. So let's stop being insane if there's something we know that we're doing wrong. If there's something we know that we're involved in that is harmful to ourselves or others. Let's put confession into practice. Sometimes you may need someone else alongside you to help you with this. This doesn't have to be you closed off in a closet by yourself. In fact, it's usually more helpful when you have someone in the boat with you. This is why a lot of religious confession centers around confession to one another. But at least, at a minimum, we should be enacting this perspective of confession if we want to see life change in our own lives. These morning sessions or broadcasts or whatever we want to call it, for me it's a study session, and I just share it with you. These are a way for me to walk through this. They allow me a slowed down moment in my morning to think about these things, to choose truly whether I treasure these precepts or not, to examine myself and identify things that are not yet where I want them to be. And I hold myself accountable. I don't just sweep the dirt under the rug. And I identify what needs to be done. Sometimes I'm good at applying these little steps to get closer to where I'm headed. Sometimes I'm not. And when I'm not, I rinse and repeat. This is confession. I love you, my friends. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday, wherever the day will take you. As always, if you want to talk about this and go deeper with it, I'd love that. I'm hoping in the future that I'll have another sort of a format to bundle with this or bundle separately or something where we can get together more interactively, maybe some type of a Zoom type of a call or something where we can interact and we can discuss. Or maybe we just get together at my house one day a week and sit around and swim in the pool and have some good food and hang out and just enjoy each other's company. And maybe we talk about these precepts. Maybe we just talk about life and the challenges. But who knows what the next step is. But I'm grateful for these moments. If you want to go deeper, if you want to share with me the wisdom that you've gained through your life on these topics, reach out. I love you, and you're always welcome at my table. Take care, and we'll see you again soon.